or we are practitioners of yoga. We are doing our asana practices, but why are we not able to move into the meditative practices? This is something that is what I am trying to going to focus and concentrate for today's session. So we can have the next slide. Those teachers who have actually practiced yoga, or you have gotten introduced, we will all be knowing that Patanjali is actually recommended Ashtanga practices, which means that he's recommending a journey. He's kind of, organized the practice as from outside to inside. And this begins with ethical practices that we actually do in our society, what we are. Honestly, to tell you the truth, what we think as yoga, as asana, is just not about asanas. It's also about how we can practice it in our interactions with other people while dealing with outside world. So this is where the first ashtanga of yoga, the yama, comes into play, wherein you're speaking to your parents, or you're interacting with your children, or you're interacting with your boss, your subordinates, all of them. This is where the yama practices actually begin with. So the yama actually starts with ahimsa, satya, astheya, brahmacharya, and aparigraha. I'm not going to go into all these details of explaining what is what and all. What is very, very important in terms of social practice is that we should be as a, why do we call ourselves as a dharmic society? Is because, ahimsa and satya is on the top of this practice. So naturally, we need to be having that seeking tendency. Oh, I want to learn. I want to go somewhere. I want to know about this existence and this world and nature and all those kinds of things. That process of, that search that is driving us forward is what I feel is can be summed up as satya. If you're having that, it's not like, I am speaking satya and all those things. Yes, speaking satya is very, very important. But when you're talking about dharmic, it's that quest that is moving us forward is what really counts and is very, very important. Now, when we have that quest, then automatically the satya will always take over us, and we will start driving in. When the satya takes over, the truthfulness that we are seeking, or the ultimate truth that we are seeking, automatically, we try to imbibe certain virtues that we want to follow in the way in which we hold satya. What applies to us should also apply to others. What applies to others will also apply to us. So this is the social practices that we are doing constantly in our society. So it's not like, we are not practicing yoga in our daily life at all. And moving on, so when as we are dealing it with the outside world, now we suddenly realize that, hey, if we want something from them, then we need to also practice something for ourselves. And that's when the niyamas come in. The niyama is all about what can I practice as a discipline for myself. And when you're talking about the existential journey over here, about where your search is more deeper and more subtler and more lofty in terms of, learning about the ultimate truth and the absolute reality and ultimate truth, then you need to have some strong practices. Of course, we have niyamas, niyama as in personal disciplines. We do have personal disciplines. Each one of us, we get up, we have breakfast, we go for work on time, we come back from work. These are all actually part of the niyamas only. It's not like, we are not practicing only because we practice santosha or tapas or svadhyaya. All these things come consider as niyama. We are practicing the tapas. The fact that every day morning we are getting up and we are going towards our work, That itself is a tapas by itself. And the swadhyaya, when somebody is giving us some feedback in the office or in our houses, then we kind of think, when the moment we kind of reflect upon it, then that reflection, that bit of empathy that we are showing when somebody is commenting or giving us as feedback, that is enough for us, and that's what is swadhyaya all about. I'm not going to go again inside all of them, but I'm just picking up small things from there. We, when it comes to probably somewhere we figured it out down the line that certain kind of discipline is agreeing with our body and certain kinds of discipline is not agreeing with our body, because we are all exposed to yoga in one way or the other, and we kind of feel there's some sort of a good sensation after we practice a yoga rather than a gym workout. So that's where the asana practices come in, wherein from niyama, from the personal discipline, we decide and we commit, saying that, you know what, I tried gym, but I'm going to keep it aside. I tried Zumba, but I'm going to keep it aside, or I'm going to do that as well as I'm going to practice asanas also. So this is the third Ashtanga of that Patanjali is actually describing. From here, when we are practicing this, we are also, like observing our body constantly, because as practitioners, it's impossible when we do our practice. It's all about connecting with ourselves. It's about niyama itself is about personal discipline, and within that personal discipline, we are trying to connect with our body. So, what is the nature of body? This is like, constantly, when as the teacher is giving us instructions for us, we are constantly connecting. So it's just not the body that is that we are working out over here. We are working the body through the mind as well. So slowly we are bringing, oh, okay, so I if I bend down like this, I feel this way. The mind is registering. The muscle memories are kind of registering that, oh, this is what is happening at that point of time. In when or when I'm doing back arches, I feel this way. This has given me some sort of a relief over here. So slowly, the mind body connect is kind of, made over here. But is it enough if we just do the mind body connect? Because in gym also there's a certain level of mind body connect, right? Or in any of the other activities also that we're following, that there will be a mind body connect, right? But what is so special about this yoga, that, like the mind body connect becomes something different? Because when we are doing yoga, most of the time the teacher is actually sensitizing us when we are given an asana practice instruction, irrespective of the school that we are introduced to. At one point of the time, they will always give instructions only with the inhale and exhale component. So the moment the inhale and exhale components is introduced into the way in which the postures or the movements are practiced, then automatically the pranayama gets into slowly introduced during the asana practice itself. But, so what is this pranayama all about? Well, here's where it becomes slowly yoga's deeper concepts kind of kicks in and starts integrating. So there is a mind, there is a body, but there's a disconnect between the mind and body, because we're struggling to stay in a posture for a long period of time. Okay, right? So somewhere when we are sitting, even in Padmasana or in something else, it's itching, it's paining, or something else is happening. So, or numbness is happening, or, like when we are keeping our legs on top in leg lift, then at that point of time, the legs are trembling and shaking. Why is all these things happening? Suddenly, we become so sensitive to all these observations that is there that our body is showing. So, that's when, like you want to take the practice more subtler. Then we go in that's where, the Hatha Yoga practices say that, okay, now you have to move into the Raja Yoga practices, wherein, you're incorporating breath along with your practice. So that's why you have to include the pranayama aspect. So, what is pranayama? Prana is, we all have felt it, but if you have to actually explain it to a kid, how will you even explain what prana is? Because it's not just breath. You can't just say something, call it as something as breath. Of course, it is breath related, but it is more subtler than breath, right? So it's about the life force itself. One person, you define somebody is dead and alive because of the fact that prana is there inside the body or not. Even in coma, somebody, the prana is there alive. That's why you can't declare them dead already. Correct? So, prana means it is that force that is keeping you alive, that is keeping you going. And it's something that can, if it's there inside of you, there is a sense, your sensation is still alive. So this is where the sensation, the moment I say the word sensation, immediately you have to take it forward with pratyahara also, because prana is about just the vital forces, then whereas sensation includes your sense organs and organs of action as well, and your mind as in one component of your mind. So that's why, that I've highlighted that particular box, which is the next one, that is pratyahara, because that is so important. As soon as you move down below pratyahara, it is dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Patanjali doesn't discriminate between dharana, dhyana, and samadhi at all. He's defined each one of them separately, but when it comes to the dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, he's put them all together as samyama practices. Because you can't define 1 minute visualization will be there, another minute meditation will be there, again it will go back to visualization. It will keep switching between dharana and dhyana for a long period of time. And in this period of time is what we are struggling, sitting in cross-leg position, closing our eyes. But what is happening? We are not able to focus and control, bring ourselves into a certain state of steadiness. Again, so let's go back to the sensation of pratyahara. So the pratyahara is something that we have, which is what it concerns our indriyas, as in your organs, sensory organs and organs of action as well. So this is pratyahara till pranayama is one thing, and then moving into pratyahara, automatically it becomes into the mind level. Till pranayama, you're still in the, for asanas, you're still in the body level. Pranayama, you're slowly blending in and bringing in the mind along with it and the breath along with it. Through the breath, you want to find the mind. You want to anchor your mind in the breath. But when you're doing that, you're still struggling. And that's where, the next slide, please. That's where the obstacles are there, because the nature of the body is different from the nature of the mind. Can you just tap one more time, Jansi? So when the nature of the body and nature of mind is different, then suddenly what happens? The obstacles of the mind and body are happening. The moment you say obstacles, Patanjali is listed out some 9 obstacles in Yoga Sutra. And it begins with diseases or illness, which is vyadi. What is so important for us to understand over here is a practitioner, once and the Ruji, I don't know how many people over here understand Tamil, the Ruji kadachachinaka, yoga's Ruji, that if you've had one taste of that yoga, then moment you can't go back to anything else, because nothing else gives you this kind of a fulfilling effect as your 1 hour of asana practice or 1 hour of asana with pranayama practices. If you have tasted it one time, you can't go back at all. So, but what happens? our age, our body type, all these things, at one moment or the other, our temperaments are not same. So all these kind of obstacles come and play, do some sort of an mischief for us when we are doing our practice. This is the reason why, I mean, like if you actually look into this obstacles, only Vyadi is body related. Baki sab, everything else is mind related only. Out of 9, only the first one is body related. Everything else is mind related. It's only the other things that will not allow us to come to the commit to that yoga practice also. Oh, okay, today it's so cold. It's okay, tomorrow I'll go for practice. All these kind of thoughts that come into our mind, no, not allowing us to come and sit into our mat. It's because of the nature of the mind. That is why Patanjali has described yoga in a very, very abstract form. Can we go to the next slide, Jansi? Since he's described this mind in a very, very abstract manner, wherein this is very, very important for us to understand. He calls the mind as chitta. Okay. And then he says vritti, and then niro. He just says yoga. He's defining yoga as yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha. Okay, now this chitta component is, what do you say? It's a big abstraction, because in this chitta, Patanjali is actually dividing the mind into 3 different types. I mean, like 3 different components he's giving, wherein he's saying that the intellect mind is different. Intellect mind is to do with the rational, and it's kind of discriminatory and it's very logical. So he differentiates that as the intellect, and then he says there is the feeling portion of the mind. The thinking, the intellect is the thinking aspect of it, and then you have the manas, which is the feeling aspect of it. And the feeling is mostly with the heart, and the thinking is mostly with the head. So this is where the conflict begins. Oh my God, we want to do something, but something is stopping us from doing this. And then there are so many feelings, the gut feeling, that not wanting to do feeling, the laziness feeling. There are so many different kinds of them that just takes over our heart in stopping us from doing it. So the heart feeling portion of our mind is so much more stronger than the thinking portion of our mind. So this conflict we have to reduce. In order to reduce this conflict only, Patanjali says that we have to bring the mind into a state of nirodha. Nirodha means some sort of a peace, some sort of an equilibrium, some sort of a balance, some sort of relationship that we are trying to match. Okay. All right. So so what is this? So can we just have a look at something as to, can we all put together the entire body of the our own body in terms of how the yoga's anatomy and Sankhya's system is all about? How do we understand our body and mind? Okay. Now we will move to the next slide, wherein, like I'm kind of slightly going to, I need you to stay with me over here, but we'll just slowly step away from yoga, go into Sankhya to find out what Sankhya says about how we are born. So what Sankhya says, that creation happens when a Purusha and Prakriti. Oh my God, what is Purusha? What is Prakriti? Well, Purusha is just, and both are unmanifest aspects of Chitta. It is Chitta, but a Chitta has a 2 components within it, and that is one of the component is the Purusha, that is the male source. Okay, and then you have the Prakriti, which is the feminine source. The Purusha is more eternal, it is indestructible. Okay, whereas Prakriti is constantly changing and always dynamic. So these two are the flux. These two were there together. And then in Prakriti also there are 3 gunas. which is the sattva, rajas, and tamas. Now, this sattva, rajas, and tamas, what it does is somehow or the other, if you have two magnets, no, you have to keep bringing them together. Only then they will stick, right? So when Purusha and Prakriti is there, this gunas, what they are doing is somehow or the other, they bring these forces together and then slowly get them to stick with each other. The moment these two forces stick with each other, then the manifestation begins. That's when, and the cause becomes intelligent. So creation is happening in that moment when they are actually coming and sitting with each other, sitting close on top of each other or with each other. Then, so everything that is created, what is beautiful about the Indic knowledge system is that in the entire universe that is created, we say that intelligence is all over there. We don't differentiate something that's non-intelligent and intelligent at all. We say that intelligence is there. Therefore, the universe is there. Therefore, the cosmos exists. So when you're talking about universe and cosmos, and because our body is suddenly we are moving away. How is it? Why are we moving away to universe and cosmos now when we are talking about the body and mind? That's because we are integrated together with this is what is it, the integrating force. Our intelligence is connected with a certain higher source, and that's what we tend to that's why that quest is also there for us to learn about reality. What is absolute reality? Why am I existing? What is the purpose of my life? These are questions. These are intelligent questions. Okay. And now, with the intelligent questions, then you're trying to find out, who am I? What is my purpose? What is it that I want to do? Where do I need to go from here to there? What is here first? Right? So in order to know all these things, suddenly, the I becomes more important. You want to relate yourself with something else. There is a higher power. This is why, you brought in the concept of God. Civilizations, because we don't know what that other higher force is. When we don't know what the higher force is, it's easy to call it as X and Y. Mathematics does. Mathematics calls it as a variable, correct? We all have studied algebra in our schools. So that X variable or Y variable, we like, okay, let's, they'll keep increasing. If you go into mathematics, first you'll begin with X and Y, then they'll say delta, then they'll say theta, then they'll put so all sorts of signs they'll bring in. Why are we bringing what the modern science and the Western thing is doing? That's what an Indic knowledge system we put as. For those formulas we have applied in forms, because we used to think visually in our process. Our ancestors were so intelligent creatures. They are creatures, right? They're so intelligent that they used to think visually. All these mathematics and all. Why you want to confuse everybody? Why you want to burden anyone? Let me make it as a feeling state for you. Okay, so that's when, like they made forms. So this is this God, this is that God. I'm going to give him these weapons in his hand. That is that God. I'm going to make him look like this. So they gave attributes to, and then there is goddess. Then, okay, if the gods are there, then they have to have the goddesses also. Then if the goddesses are there, then they have to have a family also. If they have the family, then they have to have an extended family, neighbors, etc., etc. The whole thing was created. Another parallel universe they actually created over there. That entire parallel universe that they created was the Vedanta system. I don't want to go into that aspect of it. Let's stick to Sankhya and Yoga because it's so much more easier for us. So this basically what happens is that anything that we are dealing with I, who am I, what am I, etc., is the ahankara portion of it, the I-ness of it. My family. I means immediately you want to extend it. Then there is a territory involved also. I means also my body. Correct? When you have I only, you understand the body also. So this I you cannot take away at all. From this ahankara, Sankhya says the manas was born. That is the thinking feeling state. It is a both thinking as well as a feeling state. Earlier, buddhi is just intelligence, pure intelligence. It's like awareness. You're just aware of everything. Here, it's a thinking, feeling space, the manas. Here, this is where the conflicts are. So when you're talking about previously yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, the vritti is happening only in the manas. Okay, because the manas is like a tesseract. You all know you must have all seen that Marvel, no? So that tesseract, the ability of the tesseract is that it can expand. The entire space can be contracted into a small cube, and it can be expanded from there also. And within that, when you expand it, it's something. When you contract it, it's something. But whatever is there, it contains so much of knowledge. It has all memories stored. Every little bit detail of not just yours and mine, everybody else. It's a collected force of memory. Okay. Sorry. Hello. Can I go on? So this manas is what it is. From this manas is your sensory organs, and then you have your bhutas. So these are what construct is your body is made up of. Okay. So but can you see how the diagrams are? The ahankara is like a kaleidoscope. You can see it's like so powerful. It's like it just goes out splashing. If you have multiple mirrors, focused around you, what will be your images? You will see so many images on the screen, right? On the mirrors. That is what ahankara is like. It's like a kaleidoscope. It just blasts. There is always the I-ness all over the place. You don't know what to choose, and that's where the confusion becomes of reality itself. Which one is real? What am I seeking? Where do I have to go? All those things are happening over there in that space only. Now, in this space, when one aspect of your mind is actually thinking, the chitta is actually thinking in this direction, the other direction, oh, that donut is very nice. Oh my God, this Louis Vuitton bag, can I even have this? That is also happening simultaneously at the same time. So why is this? How can I just, bring these things to a certain kind of balance? This is why, like all these things are, if you can see the screen, it's all divided. There are different connections that is happening. There's a connection that the indriyas, the karmendriyas are existing with the jnanendriyas when it was formed, but then it also has a connection with the bhutas, because bhutas are coming and corrupting it. Okay, so this is what is causing the vritti for us in our mind. So, but what is the ideal? This is realism. Okay, what we are seeing right now, what we are experiencing right now is the real most of the time. But what is the ideal that we need to form? Can we go to the next slide, please? The ideal thing is when we can make the connection correct. It's just like an electrical circuit. Okay, if we can connect the right kind of things, if we can just marry right kind of things, then through yoga we can declutter ourselves. Look at this screen now, how clean it looks. So what is important is the connection between the karmendriyas and the jnanendriyas, which is so important, because till pranayama, if you do pranayama properly, your bhutas will not be corrupt. But it's not the bhutas which is actually getting corrupting you. It is the jnanendriyas and the karmendriyas. Their connection is not properly established. Okay, then when I'm talking about jnanendriyas, I'm talking about the organs of senses, like the sense of touch, sense of hearing, sense of seeing, sense of tasting, and then the sense of smell. These things have to be coordinated with your vak, which means your speech, and then your pani, which is your grasp. This is where your intelligence is. Pani is the grasp. This is where the thumb becomes very important. We can't grasp without the thumb. What differentiates humans from animals is the fact that we are the only species who can pass on knowledge to the next generation without even through third source and all. Okay. For example, I have 3 cats in my house. One cat has learned to open the door with his hand. Okay. With his hand, he will just pull and open the door. But the other cat cannot open the door. He can't teach the other cat saying that pull like this, you will also be able to go. She will just go and stand over there and keep looking at me, open the door. So she'll just wait for me to come and open the door. Until somebody comes and opens the door, she'll be standing over there. She's not learned that. He's not able to teach her that. Whereas we humans can teach one another. Forget one another. Our ancestors, if we connect to the mantras, we can learn directly from them also. Correct? That's the beauty of our system. So this is what is called knowledge. This is not information. This is not like Google. You open Google, you put one question, and then afterwards you get in. That is not what is knowledge. Knowledge is when, without any device, when you're just sitting over there and you're just thinking, you're basically you're thinking as in you're reflecting and meditating. So when you're doing that, you will have a certain flash, eureka moment. That eureka moment is what is yoga all about. And I'm telling you, we have all experienced this eureka moment for us. Every time when a bulb in our head is burning, that time that union is there, and that we are experienced. Not something that only yogis do. The only difference between us and the yogis is that yogis can do it for a prolonged period of time. For us, because we are running around in so many things, we are not able to do it as fast. So the grasp, second one is the grasp of the karmendriya. Third one is the path that we are following, the pada. Which path are we following? If we are following the righteous path, which is the righteous path? That of the niyamas. If we are following the right kind of virtues, if we have imbibed for ourselves the right kind of virtues, then automatically we will be able to walk the path. Now, I'm not going to go into too much of it. All I'm going to say is that these karmendriyas and jnanendriyas are the most important thing, and their connection is important. When we do the right kind of connections, then the ahankara, what happens is that it doesn't become a kaleidoscope anymore. It just shrinks to become like the Sri Yantra. You know, it's that a kaleidoscope is also a triangle. The Sri Yantra is also a triangle. But in kaleidoscope, everything is just cluttered. It's like a huge force that's just going outwards. Here, it's a very beautifully organized space. So the ahankara is also blurred now, if you notice. So you're blurring off that I-ness. Oh, who am I? I am. When you begin to relate that I to everything and everyone around you, that empathy comes in, compassion comes in. The empathy and compassion are universal feelings. Love is a universal feeling. Ahimsa, for ahimsa, what is important is these two factors. The moment you can be compassionate to everyone, and the moment you can show love to everyone, then that oneness automatically takes place. The moment you have that oneness, that it's not me, my body, my this one, my territory, my possessions, then you grow out of that ahankara. You tend to slowly blur away that ego sense, and then you take better control of the rest of the aspects of your senses and your mind. Okay, so now, interestingly, when we're talking about the vrittis, I want to introduce, I had told you about the pada, what is the direction in which we are walking, right? Now, this pada is very, very important because that is what is the dharma. That is which defines whether we are walking in the path of dharma or not. The moment these vrittis are created mostly because of it won't allow us. Situation won't allow us because it's a testing phase for us. That is what is called as dharma sankatam. Dharma sankatam is one moment. It's each moment in our lives where we reach a crossroad. We reach a certain crossroad, and then there are like 4 directions in which the roads are splitting. 3 directions in which the roads are splitting. We don't know which road to actually take. Now, that situation that we have, it's called the dharma sankatam, because in one road there will be the thinking factor. That's the rational aspect of our mind. Then in one road there is the feeling factor, wherein you want to support all of them. Then we still want to find the in between road where we can please the thinking and the feeling portion of it. But to arriving at the third road, is what has become very, very difficult. But only if you take that third path, no, you don't take the thinking path, you don't take the feeling part, but we combine something together where we have a balanced path and we move in that direction. That is takes a lot of wisdom and foresight. Now, when we don't have that only, we create all sorts of, it's like a domino effect. The moment we choose the wrong path, and then we go all over here and there, instead of going just walking up like that, then we'll go crisscrossing, and somewhere by the time we come to that right place, so many things would have happened in our life, and so many experiences of pain and pleasure, and some roller coaster ride we would have taken by that time, basically. So this dharma sankatam is what we want to master during the times of dharma sankatam. If we can take the right kind of decision, then we are in a path of yoga. I mean, like when we are in a state of yoga, we are practicing that state of, we are in an equilibrium state, which is what has allowed us to find the right kind of solution. So this again, we would have all had this thinking state and the abstract feeling state, and we would have all arrived at one path where we have chosen the right path and go. Of course, we are humans. We would have made mistakes, and we would have also gone through that longer crisscrossing routes and all those things. But that's the beauty of the journey. Point is that somewhere at this point of time, we should have understood that the pain can be handled. It's not about, that of course it's very difficult when we're going through it. But at some point of time, we get this wisdom that, oh, pain can be handled. Obstacles can be handled. All we need to do is that stick to that one particular direction. In this context only, I want to bring in the story of Nala and Damayanti. How are we on time, Jansi? Are we good on time? Should I go into the story?
Yeah, proceed.
Okay. In this, I'm going to just introduce the story for a short time. Nala and Damayanti is in the Mahabharata's time. The story was actually told to Yudhishthira when he had gone into, he went into the forest and he was sulking and he was feeling so bad because, like he had taken some bad decisions for not only himself but all his folks also, and which has kind of caused a lot of pain for himself and others. So he's in sulking at that point of time. A rishi, a sage comes, and then the Nala and Damayanti story is actually told. So Nala is a Nishada king, okay, and Damayanti is a Vidarbha princess. Now, Damayanti is supposed to be very beautiful, and everybody wanted to marry Damayanti. So even the celestial gods were eyeing for Damayanti. But and Nishada king, he was like, Nala was like, what the hell? How am I even going to win over her? It was his plight. At that point of time, he meets a swan, and then he wants to, he was hunting, and then he was going to hunt the swan, and then swan suddenly comes and tells, listen, don't kill me. If you don't kill me now, I'll put in a right word about you to Damayanti, and then she will choose you for this one. Then he didn't believe it and all, but whatever it is, Nala being a nice guy, he just let the swan go. The swan, what did he do? Because he wanted to return the favor of, that swan went to Damayanti, and the swan kind of described Nala and his virtues and his handsomeness and all those things for Damayanti. Damayanti also was like, completely enamored, and mentally she had thought that, okay, I'm going to get married, because those days and all, women had the choice to choose their husband. So Ayambaram was very much common, right? So Damayanti had made up in her mind that she's going to choose only Nala. What happened on the day of Swayamvaram? All these celestial gods that I was talking to you about, no? The Indra, Agni, Yama, and then Kali Purusha. Kali Purusha. So we have a very important, it is very much predominant in our lives now, making more sense. So these guys also came off for the wedding, wanting, Jolu today Vandurcha. Kalyanam Panikattuka. So they also came, and then they asked, they know very well that Damayanti wants to get married to Nala only. But still, these are all tests. Look at the way in which tests are happening. Okay. They call on Nala and then they say, you go and ask Damayanti who she's going to choose in the Swayamvara. So he goes and then first he says, I've also come for the Swayamvara. He said, no, go and find out. You know who we are, right? They kind of blackmail him also. So he's not able to say no. So he goes on his own. He doesn't introduce himself as Nala. But then look at the qualities, okay? Look at the virtuous qualities that he shows. He goes to Damayanti and then he asks, I've been sent by some people, very important people who has also come for your Smayamvara. They would like to know who you're going to choose. The Damayanti kind of, she also didn't recognize, like, what's there for questioning? I'm going to choose only Nala. Inside, he would have felt very happy, but didn't express anything. At that moment also, he didn't say, I am only Nala, I am only Nala. He just quietly took the answer and went and told off. Again, whatever she told, he told the gods. What happened the next morning? Next morning, when Damayanti is going over there to marry, they'll have that garland and they have to garland. Whoever she garlands, that person is what, like becomes the her bridegroom. She goes over there and then she finds that all of them are looking same. Why? Because all these gods, Yama, Indra, Agni, Kalipurusha, all of them change their appearance. They know how to change appearances and all. So they all change the appearances as Nala and they're all sitting over there. And she's not able to identify who Nala is at all at that point of time. She immediately understood that this is a trick played by them. So she started praying within her, saying that if I have been honest and truthful, you will let me know how to differentiate between the devas sitting over here as Nala and the real Nala himself. Okay. So the moment she goes into that prayer mode, immediately she understands how to differentiate between the celestial gods and the humans. There are some qualities. It's very interesting if you go into the real text and find out. But these are all very important, but not important for our story right now. So with that knowledge, she was able to identify who the real person is, and then she was able to wed that person. The point of the story is that over here, I'm going to cut short the story. I'm going to leave you all to go. The story doesn't end with just this Kalyanam. And then afterwards, there's a whole bunch of other things that Nala and Damayanti go through in their life. It's not like, that point where Damayanti is facing itself is one Dharma Sankatam, where, she has to choose the person, but she's not able to choose because everybody looks the same. It's a trick clearly played by the gods, correct? But how do you get out of this trick situation? Only again approaching the gods. This is what is very, very important over here because, one, problems are created by some higher forces to us in our life, but that same problem can also become, the solutions to same problems can also be arrived at if we actually go to the higher forces. This is very, very important, and this is what is going to move us forward. Okay, now why did I choose, next slide please, why did I choose Nala and Damayanti for today's life? Because when you're talking about yoga and when we're talking about daily life and we are talking about compassion and love, then what is important is that we have to first follow it with our own spouses. Because those were the days, when I'm talking about Purusha and very Prakriti, which are such abstract concepts, our society was constructed, the Vedic society was constructed in such a way that the basic social unit began with the marriage. You have to understand the sanctity behind the marriage. What is the sanctity? That's why, like, and the Kanya Danam, the Danathilla Sirandadu Kanya Danam. That means whichever in the highest kind of charity that can be done is the charity, giving someone away in marriage. Okay, that Kanyadanamla vande, the lady is getting married and going away to the other house. Now, once the husband, they become husband and wife, they become a one exact basic social unit, which is Dampati. It's called in Vedic systems. Okay, this Dampati means husband and wife, Purusha and Patni. Purusha, Patni. Okay, now closer closer points of view is the Patni is just not Patni. The Patni is called as Dharma Patni. Why? She is the one who upholds Dharma. If she is all right, rest of the house will be all right. If her desires are in right place, the rest of the desires of everybody will also be right in right place. Okay. If she is hungry for more, then the husband also has to keep bringing in more stuff for her to please her. So the point is that Prakriti has to be, that is, the Dharma Patni has the power to take the entire family in the path of dharma. When you're talking about pada, karma, it is the responsibility of the wife to ensure that the house is moving in the right direction. Okay, this is yoga in our daily life. The family unit is what is very important, which is what is slowly diminishing and going away. And what is the husband's name? What does she address her husband as? She doesn't address her husband as Purusha. Purusha and all. We are just calling Purusha is like we are calling it colloquially for a male. This one, but Purusha, you all know that has deeper sense of meaning. She calls him Prananatha, which means that he is the life force who is taking that evolution of that society forward. If family, the basic unit of family is marriage, then the wife, ensures that the family is going in the right direction, that is in the path of dharma. And the husband, Prananatha, he is, because of the Patni driving the force in this one, he has to fuel. Whatever he brings back home should be according to Dharma and should be moving the society forward. Prana, he should be giving force, life force. Prana is also related to movement. Okay, he is driving that movement forward. So she and he, both of them together are driving them forward. Yeah, I don't know how it happens in other marriages and all. I'll tell about my own marriage. When I got married in a Tambram marriage, okay, we have this huge and the vayal plow is there, no? That plow will be put on top of my mother's days and all, no? The plow, that entire thing will be put on the head. The tali will be wrapped around, will be placed, that log will be there, and then the tali will be hanging down the log, and then so many mantras will be then afterwards they lift it and then they'll tie it around it. It's very, very important symbology. Okay, that plow is all about, and it's kept on the head of the wife. Okay, so it's very, very important symbology because everything is related to the land ultimately. Okay, the culture, and when you're talking about the culture of the land, it again goes back to agriculture. You can't progress forward without the plow, without the land being, like plowed and prepared and watered and all those things. And who prepares this land? Who tills the soil? It's too olden days. Okay, the farmer wants to do it, but he can't do it on his own. He doesn't have the strength to do it on his own. He takes two bulls. Okay, and he puts that cow on top of the shoulders of the bull, and then the bulls are ridden. And then now imagine, no? Both the bulls have their own. Bullnale on the ego da. Both the bulls have to be in the right space. They have to come together. If one wants to go this side and the other wants to go that side, it's not going to work. The plowing is not going to work. That is why that to bring in that symbology, to bring in that message of it is why that log was put of the plow on top of the head of the wife. I mean, like, sorry, the bride. And then from there, that Kanyadanam is actually done. Now, when you understand this beautiful thing, the symbology about our particular society, then automatically, like we can take the society forward. If two people who are coming together can be in a state of yoga, can apply themselves such that like you blur yourself of your ego sense, and then you were able to organize yourself as a pointed triangle, upward pointed triangle and a downward pointed triangle, the upward pointed triangle being the Purusha and the downward pointed triangle being the Prakriti, then everything, it's like a star. We are moving forward. That star is always about movement. Then the star is a very sacred symbol for all religion. That's why, right? So with this thought, I want to just conclude my session, and I want to open it to the others for questions. You can actually
If anybody has a question, please.
you can remove off this screens. Actually, you can stop sharing. Yeah.